Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Habitual. I am your host, Haley, and I am so happy that you are joining me for another week of Habitual. This week, I really wanted to kind of touch on what I'm going to refer to as my personal philosophy on difficult seasons of life. Okay? And when I mean difficult seasons of life, I mean things that we're going through currently, things that we have gone through in the past, childhood experiences, all the things fall under this umbrella term. Okay? Just to be clear. Just want to clarify that right off the bat, that I'm kind of talking about everything. Because, oh, actually wasn't really thinking about doing this, but now that I'm here and I'm recording, I might as well. Should we do a little origin story? Yeah, okay. Honestly, I was just reflecting about how one of the things that I think that makes me is, and always has been, my ability to move through and like transmute difficult times and turn that energy into something positive and loving and beneficial for me. And I genuinely think I've been doing this like my whole life without even knowing it. And to give you some context, although most of you listening probably already know this about me, for those who don't, I was raised by a single father who was 20 years old when I was born. And my mom actually had me at 18. So she was even younger. And I come from a very long line of addiction in my family. My mom's parents were addicts. Mostly everyone in her family was addicts. Just to kind of set the scene, you know what I mean? But anyways, she had me at 18. My dad was 20. They tried to work it out, try to make things happen. And eventually my mom ended up using drugs and going to prison. And she was in prison for my entire life, like in and out my whole life. Honestly, leading up until this point, I don't even know. She probably still is in prison, or if not prison, then she's in jail. And it's just been that way for literally as long as I can remember, since I was like, I think almost like 18 months old, I think was when the cycle started. So that obviously, I was raised in very different conditions than most people are used to. Or it would be like typical family unit, right? My dad was super young. My mom was obviously out of the picture. And I was raised by my dad and the rest of my family, so my grandparents and my uncles, which just obviously presents itself with a lot of different challenges. I would say the main one being I was the only person that I knew growing up that only had one parent. So that was already, I felt very like different and like isolated because of that. But then also once I started getting older, it just was becoming very clear that I just didn't have the same sort of maternal role model, yes, but also if you've taken any psychology classes, you know that a child's connection to their mother is like one of the most, if not like the most important factor in building their identity and in creating their attachment style. So you can imagine the super fun abandonment issues that I got to grow up with and come to terms with in my, well, I didn't actually come to terms. They started surfacing, obviously, my whole life. They were there, but I didn't realize that these things were happening until probably like college. So that was super fun. But anyways, that's just kind of like a little tiny, teensy bit of my backstory. And I just wanted to divulge that a little bit to just give some, like a little peek into the vibes that I'm talking about. Like, not necessarily like difficult situation. Obviously, being like not having an entire parent there is shitty. But I also like never really, I don't know, I never really let that shit get to me. I was kind of just like, I don't even know what that would be like. So I don't really, obviously I would like be sad because I would see like my friends and their moms and like be like, dang, I wish I had that. But I'm also really fortunate enough to have an amazing fucking rock star dad who is so great and stepped up in all the ways that matter and all the ways that he could. So I'm just really grateful for that. And I had a great experience, and I still obviously, you know, life is worth the living. No, just kidding. I just wasn't expecting to bring this up, and now we're here. So let's, hey, I'm kind of like, how do I transition? I am just saying I've experienced a lot in my 26 years. Okay. That's kind of my vibe. And there's so much more that I am not going to talk about today. And maybe on the podcast ever, who knows, but just know. And so when I'm talking about these like difficult situations or hard times or whatever, I'm just really kind of covering all the bases. Like I am talking about that. I'm also talking about, I just had a really shitty month that I just went through because of a lot of other external factors. And I also mean like when you're just having a hard time, when you're just having a hard time in general, like grieving, if you're like, if you recently lost someone or something, or like a job or something like that, like there are so many reasons and so many things that can put us into this emotional state. And those are all the things that I am talking about. Okay. But actually though, the point of this conversation, the point that I'm trying to get to, right, is that I genuinely believe that these experiences are, one, what makes us who we are. I've said that for as long as I can remember. I've always been like, I would never change it. If I could go back in time, I would never change it. My personal story, because then I wouldn't be who I am. And that's a crazy thing. Like I was like fucking like 10 years old telling people that, which is like, maybe it's the trauma speaking. I don't know. But anyways, that's just how I've always felt. I've always felt like this is just part of me and this is part of my story, and it is quite literally shaped me into the person that I am today. And I literally wouldn't change that for a second because I love who I am. And I love all the things that this experience has taught me and the path that it has put me on and the experiences that I've been able to have because of that. So this all boils down to, I just believe that, okay, everything happens for a reason, right? Sure. Yes. Even the shitty things. I know. And that's a shitty thing to also hear when you have just gone through a shitty thing. It sucks. No one wants to be told, well, everything happens for a reason after you experience something really not fun, right? You're like, okay, great. Well, what the fuck was that reason? You may not know. You may not know, and you're not going to know, actually. You're not going to know. But through going through that transformative period, you will come out a different person. You will meet parts of yourself that never would have resurfaced if you hadn't gone through whatever you're going through. And that is what I mean when I say, like, these are some of the most important defining moments of our lives. And I genuinely think that having love and appreciation for them is important. I think it's important. I think that it's something that I try and consistently remind myself when I am going through one of these seasons or periods in my life. And I want to share with you why I believe that and just kind of how it has changed my general outlook on like everything. Because I also think that like there is such thing as obviously there is healthy detachment and there is also unhealthy detachment. And so I want to clarify that what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to convey is definitely a form of healthy detachment. And I hope that I'm not coming across as unhealthy detachment, because obviously you need to feel your feelings. You need to experience everything like as it comes. To get over it, you have to go through it, basically. And I think that that is the case for every single thing in all of life. But specifically, the not so fun parts that kind of freaking suck. And you're like, why is this happening? And it can be really easy to that slippery slope into like, woe is me, and like, fuck, why is this happening? And, you know, all of the easy self-pity routes that you can take. And I do think that there's a time and place for that, honestly. You can feel it for a little bit, for an hour or two, or however long it takes to be like, fuck, why is this? But as long as you're able to like ground yourself and snap back out of it, that's what's important. I was doing like a little brain dump before I started to record this episode. And something that came out was this analogy that I wrote it and then I looked back at it and I was like, hey, yeah, that's so true. And it's basically like, one of the main benefits of going through a really tough time, like I said previously, is one, you meet these sides of yourself that you normally would have never met, that normally would have never resurfaced. And not just sides of yourself, but facets of your personality, self-beliefs that you have been carrying for as long as you can remember that you didn't even know that you were carrying, right? Like these subconscious levels and layers to who you are, who you believe yourself to be, what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you're moving through your life. All of these things exist always and are the literal makeup of you and your brain and your belief system. And it does not happen frequently. So it's very rare when situations arise where we are able to uncover something that has been so deeply subconscious for years of our lives, right? Or like as long as we can remember. And I think that that is what is so beautiful about going through a shit time or having something really shitty happen to you, is being able to see how beautiful and wonderful that human experience is, that wakes you up or opens your eyes to something that normally never would have been something on your radar, right? Here's the analogy that came out. If you were carrying a backpack, like imagine you were born, like right when you were born, they put like a little backpack on you that had like rocks in it or something, and you wore that every single second of every single day, and you grew up holding this weighted backpack. You would have no idea what life feels like without holding that. You also wouldn't even realize that there is a life that exists where you're not holding that. It would just be who you are. It's just how it is, right? It's just how your life is, how you live your day to day, right? It's just carrying this backpack filled with rocks. And something that is like that. So that backpack is like all of these, like, could be self-limiting beliefs, could be negative self-talk, could be harmful, like self-harming habits. It could be destructive religious views. It could be so many things, right? But the fact is that they're existing at a subconscious level that you're just not aware of. They are just who you are. They make up you and they impact you every single day and how you move through the world. If you're carrying a fucking backpack of rocks every day, that's going to affect you every single day. It's going to affect how you move. It's going to affect how you walk, how you sleep, everything. It's going to affect every single ounce of your life if you're carrying a backpack full of rocks. But, okay, can you imagine if that was you and you were carrying this backpack full of rocks forever and you didn't even know that there was even an option to take it off? Imagine the weight, like literal weight, that would be lifted off of you if you ever took it off. If you took that backpack off, you'd be like, holy shit, I didn't even know that life could be like this. Like, I had no idea that this was even an option. And oh my God, it feels so good to be relieved of that weight, to be unburdened, right? How else are you going to notice that weight and notice that backpack unless something pretty shitty or traumatic happens. Like, say one day you're walking alongside a river and someone pushes you into the river and you start to drown. You are going to be terrified. You're going to be freaking out. You're going to be so scared because that's fucking terrifying. First of all, you're in a river. Well, in this scenario, you're in a river with a backpack of rocks strapped to your back that you aren't even aware of. But through the natural human inclination for self-preservation and to continue fighting, you will figure out and you will realize that this is what is holding you down. This is what is keeping you back from the surface. Is this weight that you've been carrying. And that moment of releasing it and letting it go and just letting it go, that is going to feel, I mean, in this scenario, it's going to feel pretty shitty actually, because you're going to be like, you're drowning. So even though it probably feels great, you're also like you still got to get up to the surface and like get some air in those lungs. You know what I mean? So it's going to feel good, but not like super awesome at first. It's going to be pretty shitty still. But once you fully, like, time has passed, once some time has passed and you got home, you are dry, you took a shower, you're in like cozy clothes, and you can really sit there and reflect on the weight that you were just able to offload and unburden yourself with. Dude, it's gonna feel, it's like a whole new world. Literally, a whole new world. One where you don't have to carry this backpack full of rocks every day. And you're gonna start moving so differently. Like every time you walk, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is so great because I don't have this on. Every time you like try and go through like a small space, I don't know, I'm just envisioning backpack, like, you know what I mean? Like everything that you do, every time that you do something differently, every time that requires movement, everything that requires you to like be moving your body or whatever it is, you are going to feel that difference and you're going to see it and you're going to like feel it inside of you, like, oh, like the relief of no longer having that, paired with the, oh my God, and I can't believe that I spent my whole life doing it that way and holding on to that. And here is also where I feel, again, this is like my personal philosophy. So if you're like, Haley, what the fuck are you talking about? And also, what? That's okay. I'm trying to convey how I personally have moved through some pretty hard and traumatic things in my life with optimism, basically. And actually, that just reminded me of something, and I'm going to side tangent that. I'm putting a pin in it, and we're going to come back to it in 1 second, but I'm going to finish my analogy, because this is what's the most important part. You could move through the rest of life after you get rid of that backpack thinking, wow, this is so much easier, and fuck. And fuck, I'm so upset that I was holding on to that for so fucking long. And damn, why does it have to be like that? And why did I have to have the backpack? Why did I have to carry that? Why was that given to me? Why did I not know? How come I wasted so many years of my life carrying that backpack? Why is that fair? These are all very natural human things to think and to feel, especially when you go through a shitty fucking time. You're like, what? And then when you realize, we're going to stick to the analogy and then I'm going to get into real world. But I have found there's no point in wallowing. There's no point in asking the why me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and it's not important. It doesn't matter why you were born with XYZ, why this other thing happened to you, why you had to carry the backpack filled with rocks for however many years, and look back and be like, wow, I wish that I would have known, and I wish that I would have released that earlier because my life would have been so different. But it's not. But it's not. That's just what happened, and that's just part of your story. And you just have to accept that. And I know that's so much easier said than done, but oh my God, is it literally the most freeing thing in the whole wide world when you just accept that shit that happened in the past sorry. Whoa, lots of cuss words on that one. Stuff that has happened in the past can't be changed. It's just how it is. There's nothing that you can do. And especially when we're talking about life experiences that put us through really like hard emotional states and emotional periods and force us to notice the backpack. If you can accept that that's just how it was and this is just the life that you've been given, and then you can look at that backpack and be like, you know what? I wouldn't be the same person if I didn't have that backpack, and not in a and now I'm fucked up type of way, and not in a I wish I had gotten rid of it sooner type of way, but in a I learned resilience. I'm a resilient human being. And that is part of who I am because of that backpack. That backpack, that forced me to be resilient. It forced me to have strength. I'm so much stronger. Everything feels a lot easier now that I've taken off the weight of that backpack. I can do things. I can move through the world in a lighter way because I had to be so strong to carry that it forced me to be a stronger person. It made me a stronger human being. Now, that's something you can focus on the negatives in every situation. You can focus on the negatives or you can focus on the positives. And I'm not saying to never think about the negatives. It's going to happen. You're a human being. I'm a human being. It's just what we do. But as long as you don't stick in it and you don't stay in it and you don't let it consume you and trap you, then you can look at that other side of the coin. You can see the positive aspects to every situation. You can look at that backpack and be like, oh my God, like I wouldn't be able to do half the things that I did in my life. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have the strength to do X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't have the resiliency to make it through it. And now, because I had that backpack, anytime someone ever asks me to carry something or something gets put onto me without knowing or without me being prepared, I don't have to worry as much because I know I can handle it. I know I can handle it because I already did. And I think that being able to have that perspective on the shitty things that happen to us in our lives is so important. It allows you to move through and move past things that are hard to move through and move past with appreciation for them. Because it's true. I appreciate all the shitty things that have happened to me. Because guess what? I would literally not even be. All of the shittiest things that have happened to me have given me some of the best attributes. Some of the shittiest things that have happened to me in my life have made me into this version of myself who I fucking love, who I love being, who I'm so proud of, who also I literally know I can go through anytime I'm presented with like a shitty, how many times have I said shitty? Drinking game. Just kidding. Take a shot every time I say shitty. Just kidding. But no, don't do that. Every time I've gone through something that really fucking sucks, it has forced me to develop and take a look at myself and take a look at the shit that I was never going to look at, because it forces that stuff to the surface. It forces those beliefs to the surface. It forces those habits, anything destructive or negative or harmfully impacting you, even if they're not, even if it's just impacting you, that is all going to be brought to the light when something really bad happens. It's just inevitable. It's just how it goes. It's just part of life and being a human being and living in this world. And I think having a healthy level of detachment and understanding that things are going to happen, and it's how we respond to them that make us who we are, not the things that happen to us, but how we respond to them. And I can confidently say with like everything in me that the way that I have responded specifically to like my upbringing, like that has always made me who I am, and that has always been a core part of my being for as long as I can remember. And I didn't even realize this. I'll tell you when I realized this. I was 16 years old, and I met someone who had a very, very, very similar story to me. Parent who was using, wasn't part of their life, left, was also their mother. So very similar. It was the first time that I had really met someone, right, with like such a similar story and like background as me. And at first it was really therapeutic to have someone be like, I see you and like I hear you, and I'm also 16, and I'm also like, what the fuck's going on? And looking back at my life and being like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy, But here is where this is like such a catalyst moment in my mind, and it's like cataloged as such. I'll always remember this. They looked at me and they said, like, I just don't know why this is happening to me, why this happened to me, or why this happened to us. And it's going to affect me for the rest of my life. And I'm never going to get my mom back, and I'm never going to have those years. And it's something that I'm going to think about every single day. And I'm going to think about how much this sucks every single day. And that's why it's so hard. And then this person, throughout the next like year of our friendship, proceeded to show me in many different actions why and how this was quite literally affecting them every single day of their lives. And this was the first time in my life where I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know that was an option. And then once I saw that it was, and I'm not saying I'm better. Like, this is not me being like, this is better, this is whatever. This is just, I'm explaining my story. And was a really huge part of it. And this was something that I was subconsciously doing that I didn't even realize, but I'm now realizing consciously that it's just the way that I want to continue to approach things in my life. Okay. But I realized I've never once let this thing define me. But this person is letting the same thing define them every day and affect their emotional state and their emotional being every single day. And I was shocked. It was honestly a lot for me to process because I was like, what? I was 16. I don't fucking know. I didn't know anything. Like, I was a baby. What am I trying to explain here? I guess that it's always kind of been something that I've innately done and that I haven't really thought about until now, as other more difficult things have also come into my life and forced me to go through things. Then I've realized this is something that I'm good at. It's something I was going to say that I like doing, but that is just not true. I don't like doing it, but it's just something that I'm good at. It's just something that I've always done, is just not let shitty things define me. And if anything, I've always been appreciative and grateful for them. And I think what I'm trying to say here is that if that's not something that you are able to do naturally, speaking from experience, it's 100% worth it to try to reframe how you look at the things that happen to us, the things that we've gone through, our pasts, things that we're experiencing now, whatever it is. Have, and this, I might lose some of you here, but like, have love for it. It's hard. It's really hard, but having love and appreciation and gratitude and acceptance towards the things that we just can't change, it makes the rest of life feel a lot better. It makes the rest of life feel a lot easier, and it really gets you out of like any sort of victim mindset whatsoever. Because I never really thought that I was a victim or that like something really bad had happened to me because I didn't grow up with a mom. And furthermore, had a mom that was in prison for my whole life. I was always just like, yeah, and it's made me a fucking awesome person. Like, yeah, and it's given me like the most super dad in the world. It's given me my independence. It's given me a deeper understanding and appreciation for the trials and tribulations that other people go through. I can understand, I can see, and I can hear, and I can really have empathy for people who have also just experienced not just similar things, but just shitty things in general. And I wouldn't change it for a fucking anything, for anything, because it's who I am. It made me who I am. And I love who I am. And I guess I'm sharing this because I hope that I can inspire you to also think of the things in your life that way, and to also remember that for when things inevitably shit's gonna happen. Things are gonna get not great and you're gonna go through hard times. It's just part of being alive. And when it happens, just remember, it's like the backpack, okay? Somewhere in there, something is gonna happen. You're gonna see a part of yourself. You're gonna realize something about yourself. And it's up to you to decide if you want to keep living that way and turn a blind eye to it, or if you want to work through it and figure it out and continue to develop into the person that you want to be. And I'm now realizing that was kind of my starting point that I actually didn't really touch on. So the things that we go through uncover levels and layers to ourselves that we otherwise would not be aware of. It breaks us open. It shows all the mushy gushy parts, and you can either hide from it and turn away from it and pretend it's not happening and let it fester and get infected and gross and worsen. Sorry for the graphic words. They just popped into my head and I had to say them. Or you can look at them, come to terms with them, change them if you want to, and learn to love them. And I guess we can wrap up with everything happens for a reason. Just kidding. But I'm not kidding. Life can be hard. People go through hard times, shitty times. I have, you have, we're all going to. Everyone that we know has, whether you know it or not. You might be thinking, oh, wait, but that one person that I know. Nope. I can guarantee it. They have something that maybe you don't know about that they have experienced and gone through as well. No one is exempt from the suffering of being human. Okay? No one. It's just, it's equality and equity in its finest, right? Like we all are going to suffer. Suffering is just part of being human. But it's how you move through that suffering and your mindset and perspective on what that is and how that affects you and how you move forward from it. That's the part that matters. That's the part that counts. And that's the part that continues to build you up and make you who you are. And also proves to your brain and to your body and to yourself and to the people around you that the type of person that you are. Are you the type of person that falls victim to the things that happen to them and lets it affect them every single day? Or are you someone who can appreciate what something forced you to go through and understand and love those parts of yourself, those experiences that you've had? Because, yeah. And like I said, they're shitty. I'm not trying to like glorify shitty things or suffering. I'm not trying to, God, I'm not trying to glorify suffering. It's literally one of my biggest pet peeves. So don't get it twisted, okay? Fuck that. I say that with so much like oomph because I was on Tumblr, okay? I was on Tumblr in 2012 and 2013. And you know what? The whole fucking point of Tumblr back then was glorifying suffering and a whole lot of other terrible things that I don't even want to get into because I would have to put trigger warnings on. But oh yeah, that's the other thing. Tumblr didn't have trigger warnings. You were just subject to seeing the craziest shit you've ever seen online. As a 13-year-old, in my case, 12 and 13-year-old, it was fucking insane. Talk about catalyst moments, man. Holy shit. If you were on the internet, then some of you were. We siege. I know that you know. Because, oh my God. Anyways, I will never glorify suffering. I fucking think that that's stupid. And you don't have to hate yourself to create amazing art. You don't need to hate yourself to be somehow morally superior. I think that if it's not already been abundantly clear, I genuinely believe that acting through love and from love and with love at literally during every single situation possible is the most, in a world where I would have to define moral superiority, I would say that that's probably the closest thing we're going to get. Is someone who acts from love and through love and with love, not for love. Okay? Love in all things. Love is the highest vibration. It's the highest frequency. I genuinely also okay. To quote the very famous Ziggy Marley, love is my religion. No. I'm joking, but I'm also not joking. Which almost makes it worse. But I'm serious. Well, I feel like Mother Nature and like the universe, but like nature is my religion. It's what I believe in. I believe in the universe, but the religion that I follow is one of a natural world and of natural processes. And I think that we can learn everything that we need to know by observing the natural world. And wow, we're really getting into this, aren't we? Nope. I mean, are we? It's just me. So I can decide to talk about whatever I want, and I'm just choosing to talk about this, I guess. But what? Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to glorify suffering. I'm just trying to talk about my experiences with it and what I feel like my perspective has been and shaped into. And also just another disclaimer, I said it a few times, like there were so many periods of my life where like I actually wasn't optimistic. I'm saying it was innate as in like I was young and I really truly had like, and maybe it was like at that point when I was younger, it was an unhealthy level of detachment to what my reality was and what my experience was. And now that I'm saying that out loud, that seems right. And then I went through a period of time being very attached to it and being super like, woe is me and oh my God, and this sucks and all of the like I had so much self-pity and was drowning. I was drowning with my backpack on, with my backpack of rocks on. And that was what led me to be like, oh fuck. Yeah, I need to take this thing off and stop feeling that way. Because that was one of the reasons that really I was doing a lot of like shadow work and like deep stuff and trying to uncover a lot of things, and in the process was also, like I've talked about here many times before, like going through like serious substance abuse with marijuana, and the combination of all those things is really not good, and basically just made me really depressed and really anxious and have like serious like OCD episodes. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully everyone who listened to that like actually listened to that ending part, because I feel like that was actually kind of important to everything that I was saying. I just get in a flow. I'm sure if you listen, you know. I just am like, I'm just talking and talking and talking, and then I'm not really thinking about it. Almost every single time after I record, actually, I'm always like, fuck, ugh, I should have mentioned that. How did I not mention that? That was literally one of the main things I wanted to mention. But then I don't go back and re-record, because once I'm done recording, I'm done recording. I'm not going to come back in here and turn my camera back on just to edit something. I just hope that it comes across well, and if it doesn't, then yeah, the only person that sucks for is me. So, anyways, I okay. Anyways, let's see some daily delights. I've been on my period for the past like 6 days. Well, 5 days. So it's like today. Today's like the 5th day. But oh my god, I am so exhausted, like way more than normal. Like I'm like, I mean, the rodeo was this weekend, and so I was doing a lot. But even before that, I was like really out of it. I spent all day on Friday and Thursday night, because Jacob was working at the station Thursday and Friday. So Thursday night, and then Friday I was doing it a little bit by myself alone, and then Christine came over and joined me. I've had no energy to do anything else besides binge watch, really. What do we want to call it? What do we want to call it? Romance stuff? Things? What was it? So I started with, obviously, and we already talked about this, but Off Campus. We've established that. I'm actually was rewatching it with Jacob. So that was exciting. But we didn't finish it yet. But it's okay, because obviously. Anyways, the rewatch is so worth it. If you're considering doing a rewatch, do it. Do it. And then and then Jacob went to work, and then I started every year after. I Have Thoughts. I mean, like, I'm a sucker for like a good, like, I don't know, like a best friend romance thing, because I just think that's cute. And especially like the summer vibe of like being like a teenager in summer. Like, I think that that's like nostalgic and cute. However, I did not like that show. It felt like, one, really, really cringy, and too cheesy, for like really cheesy. I just wasn't a fan. And then two, I just was like, you guys fucking suck. Like, you're both toxic to each other, and that things have just been weird now. And also, I hated the fact that they made the same actors play each other, but that it was 10 years apart. So I'm like, this person, one scene you want me to believe that they're 16, and then the next scene you want me to believe that they're 26. Or what was it, like 18 and 28? I'm like, and then this actor is then like noticeably acting like they're 16 in the scenes where they're 16, which was just like really cringy. I just didn't like that. So I wasn't a fan. I mean, I finished it, obviously, and then the ending was like stupid. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch the next season, because like, what? Like, okay, we already saw all the summers. We already know pretty much everything. It's just like, what's gonna happen with their lives now? Anyways, wasn't a super big fan of that. And while I have you here, let me just continue on my tangent of everything that I watched and what I thought about it. Okay, cool with me? Cool with you? Cool with you? Cool with me? Okay, and then Christine came over when that finale was happening. We watched the finale together, and then we quickly, soon after, decided to watch My Fault London. I saw Colpe Mia. I watched Colpe Mia 2 years ago, whenever it was. Christina had also seen Colpe Mia. We're like, let's just give My Fault London a chance. It's not, it's the same thing, but it's different actors. It'll probably be a little different. All I'm gonna say is if you haven't, these are also all on Prime. Prime is like banging them out right now. I don't know what's going on, but they're doing it. They're doing the dang thing. So, in the terms of like steamy romance shows and movies. So, anyways, go watch. Clear your schedule. You know what? What are you doing tonight? You're watching My Fault London is what you're doing, actually. Report back. Watch it and then let me know what you thought. Because oh my, I don't know if there's any show or any movie that has that layer of like tension and like, anyways. Like the whole thing is tension. Like the whole fucking movie is just, anyways. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. And honestly, you would love it too. Actually, I know that you would. So you should go watch it. And also it's like kind of an action movie too. So it's like you get everything. It's not cheesy. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but I didn't really think it was that cheesy. I thought it was great. Anyways. And then after that, we're like, what should we watch? We're naturally continuing to scroll on Prime Video because we've been, they've been feeding us. It's great. And then we decided to start Maxton Hall. Okay, disclaimer, didn't know it. Seen a lot of stuff about it, didn't realize it's German or Dutch, or I'm pretty sure it's the original language is, I'm actually looking it up. So don't feel free to correct me in the comments because I'm looking it up and I'm fact checking myself. So what? Oh, yep, it's German. I was right the first time. Knew it. It's German. It's a German show. So personally, I usually hate watching dubbed stuff. Like I fucking hate it. I'm like, it just really like irritates me. But this time, it actually was fine. The first few episodes, you're kind of like, but then you just learn to not look at their mouths when they talk. You just look at everything else and you just like listen. And the dubbed version is actually like really, they did a really good job. I think I didn't even really like. I was feeling picky about it and to begin with, and then by the end I was like, wait, this is actually really good. Yeah, I really like that. I wish he wasn't blonde, but beggars can't be choosers. I hate blonde men. I don't know if I'm gonna leave that in there. I just prefer dark features as seen, obviously, on my beautiful, amazing, sexy, perfect boyfriend, who is like looks like a fucking Greek god because has so many just dark features. I just love. That's my vibe personally. Everyone has their own vibe, right? So like if that's not you, that's fine. I don't judge you for that. But like really blonde people, like the main character in Max Doll is like so blonde. I guess he's actually not though, because then when he's like sometimes it gets like dirty blonde. But anyways, it's pretty blonde, and I don't like that. I don't like a really blonde man. I could actually probably make an entire episode on how much I dislike a very blonde person. I don't really care if girls are blonde. I love when girls are blonde. They look beautiful. When a man is blonde, I just feel like every time I read a book and the main character is blonde, I literally like my brain goes like this. My brain goes with his blonde, and then it like crosses it out. And in my little like character building imagination where I'm like building them and getting an idea of what they look like, they're never blonde. I actually take creative liberty to change the fact that they actually aren't blonde anymore. So the only exception to that is Rowan Whitethorn, because it's fucking Rowan and it's also Throne of Glass, so I don't really know. He gets to be exempt from that. But it's also, his hair's white. It's not even blonde. White is better than blonde, in my opinion. Anyways, I've just been exhausted, and the only thing I can seem to do is fucking watch TV, which is, if you know me, it's so crazy. I never do that, usually ever. I'm like just not a TV girl, but I've been eating it up. What can I say? Prime has been popping off. Okay, I've been talking for so long, and because I was just explaining how tired. See, I was just explaining how tired I am, so I am going to end my rambling, even though even though I know and I know that you know that I could just keep going, because I could, if I really wanted to. It's just like, is this a talent? Is it a talent, or is it just like an ability? Like, I can literally just go, 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 la, 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 la. Like, we could get weird. Things would get weird, but I could continuously process externally and out loud for you guys. Maybe one time I'll do that. Maybe one time I'll be like, how long can I talk? How long can I talk? That scares me, even the concept of it. So, because I think that it could be a really long time, truly. Oh my God. Ovulation. If I'm ovulating and we've got energy like that, or even just like follicular, give me 9 hours of sleep, follicular or ovulation, my morning double shot of espresso, and like a spicy topic. I think that could actually make for some really entertaining stuff. I think it'd be entertaining for me to see just like where I could go with that. And honestly, at this point, I don't even care about anything that I'm putting into the world. It's just fun. So, anyways, sorry, I'm so tired. I don't know if you can hear that, but everyone is texting me. It's my cue to go. Okay. Comment the best show or movie that you've watched recently, and also that has nothing to do with the entire podcast episode that I just talked about, but it's also just that's what I want to hear about. As always, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at habitual pod, and reach out to me if you have any questions, any comments, you just want to talk to someone, literally anything. Like, you can send me fucking voice memos and I will send them right back, and we can just chat about whatever you want to chat about. I'm here as always. And even more so, I have so much more time now. So really excited about that. If you listen to this entire thing, I literally love you more than anything in the whole wide world. And you're actually you have been promoted, okay, to one of my favorite people. You can be in the elite club of my favorite people if you actually listen to this whole thing. So if you did, let me know. I'll make you a badge. No, I'm kidding. But I'll make you a cookie. I'll make cookies and I'll give them to you if I know you in person, if you listen to this whole thing, because wow, this was a fun one. You really did that. You really did that. Can you tell that I'm like fucking out of my mind? I'm like a toddler who needs a nap, but like refuses to sleep, but like knows that they need a nap. But I also haven't been able to nap. Anyways, I love you so much. I love you more than all the stars in the sky, and I'll see you next week.